You're listening to DraftKings Network.
"16 teams, one trophy. The NBA playoffs are here and all roads lead to the finals. Will NBA champions like Jokic and Giannis dominate the playoffs again, or will emerging stars like Anthony Edwards and Jason Tatum solidify their names in NBA history? The playoffs are where legends are made, and TNT will make sure you don't miss a moment of the action. Tune in to TNT's coverage of the NBA playoffs presented by Google Pixel on TNT, True TV, and Max."
Looks like you need a vacation. Enter the 5-Hour Energy Where Will the Tide Take You sweepstakes. You could win a $10,000 dream beach vacation. Imagine jet setting off to a tropical paradise, having fun in the sun, or diving at a gorgeous reef. It's up to you. No purchase necessary. Go to 5HETide.com for official rules and to enter. That's 5HETide.com. Enter today. Ends June 30th, 2024.
This is the Dan LeBaturd Show with the Stugotz podcast. It is time for Stugotz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
Weekend observations brought to you by Miller Lite. Fighting through it, Chris. Great taste. Just 96 calories available for delivery. Dan, we wait for it every year. And knowing you the way I do, I think you'll agree it's a top 5 week on the sports calendar. A week where all the so-called experts will gather in Detroit to tell you everything they know about Joe Alt. Plug and play. Great wingspan, a motor that never stops, Mel Kiper Jr., smoke screens, and Dan, just like that. Make no mistake about it. Draft week is back. Motor City. Ish.
Joe Alt is phenomenal, by the way.
If you say so. Plug and play?
Oh, yeah.
Motor City is where they should hold something like this, given how often someone's going to say he's got a motor that doesn't stop.
Dan, you know what time it is in Milwaukee?
Dame time.
Wow, you're on it for Monday. Pretty good. Dan, the Knickerbockers. You know what the H in Jason Hart stands for?
Hustle.
It stands for Hearts.
It's Josh.
Oh, Josh Hart.
Called him Jason.
I just started watching. That McBride kid is good. Mitchell Robinson, 4 blocks. The blockness monster.
How do you get Josh Hart's name wrong on your team?
Jason,
Was it because Jason Bateman was at the game?
I think so.
Oh, well, this is annoying, right? The celebrities coming out here, Bateman looking like a werewolf, like the New York celebrities coming out here. This part I can do without.
Sorry they had fans in the stands at their playoff game.
While everyone argued whether or not the Knicks should or shouldn't get the number 2 seed, you know what Tom Thibodeau was doing?
I do not.
Getting his team ready to play. Tibbs. The home teams.
Getting Maxey sick. Maxey's doubtful because he's sick. Embiid's hurt and
It's
Maxey's
all happening,
sick.
Dan.
Yes, it's happening.
I mean, Jason Hart. The home teams went 14-0 this weekend in the NBA and the NHL. Hey, playoffs, we're waiting. Let's go. How about we start a series? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, do it against the Nuggets. SGA.
He's not playing the Nuggets yet.
Well, I mean, get there and then do it against them.
Okay.
I mean, eke out a victory against an 8 seed with no Zion Williamson.
Stop singing in commercials that makes me want to throw my TV out of the window.
I like that commercial.
Terrible.
Jeremy Taché tweeting, quote, Tyler Hero is going to do the thing this postseason. I could feel it in my bones, unquote. If the thing is being a mess on both ends of the court, then he's most definitely doing the thing.
The praise is pouring in for Jeremy Taché. Somebody writes in, I'm a lifelong Heat fan, and Jeremy makes me hate being one. Someone else writes in, I've always hated the Heat, and Jeremy makes me feel proud of that fact.
The golfer that always has to play one last hole, even if it means putting his headlights on his golf cart on so he can see the ball. Do me a favor. Get a life and call it a day. Go home.
Aren't you that guy?
Yes. I was playing with that guy last week, and that guy said, hey, stick around. I said, I want to go home. It's dinner time. He said, no, stick around. I said, why? He said, I need your headlights. Come on.
Headlights on a golf cart, huh?
Yeah. Yep.
2 Americas.
Anthony Edwards, 33 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. Dan, you know what the A in Ant Edwards stands for? Arrived.
Awesome. Okay. But what about do it against Denver? No, he doesn't have to do it against Denver?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, but because he's not also playing Denver the same way that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander?
Just Shai, yeah.
Okay.
Unimpressive victory for Shai.
All right.
Just saying. Minnesota, impressive victory.
Agreed.
Durant, Booker, Bradley Beal. Beal. Jesus. What a waste. It's not good.
Okay.
That's all I have for it.
Bradley Beal is not good.
He's okay. Not the real deal. Tough day for Heat fans. Tough weekend for Heat fans. Having to watch Tyler Hero do that and Dame Lillard do that. What could have been? Salvador Perez doesn't see black and orange when he plays the Orioles. He just sees red. Salvi. Man United. Survive and advance. Man U. Houston Astros. 9 games under 500. Dusty Baker. Hot seat?
Wait a second.
What?
Dusty's not
He's
still
not
there.
their manager.
He's not. Wow. That explains everything. Bring him back? Who is the Astros manager?
You asked too many questions.
You don't like the follow-up? Dan?
It's one of the first things that left in terms of sports knowledge when I started clearing out baseball managers.
And numbers,
Who's
jersey
the
numbers.
most famous Astros fan, Dan?
I got to look it up for you here.
Guy
Justin.
Fieri.
Oh, no, that's a good one.
I made that up.
DeAndre Jordan is a Nugget.
The most famous Astros fan is Travis Scott.
Astro World.
Congratulations to Father Time for getting its first victory over LeBron James in the fourth quarter against Denver. First victory. The Bruins have beat the Maple Leafs all 5 times they played them this year. You, of course, know what the Bruins have, right, Dan?
Their number?
Yep, the Leafs numbers. They do. Proud of you, man. There's nothing like Madison Square Garden in the playoffs. The Mecca. Shohei Ohtani now having the most home runs by any Japanese-born player in the Major League Baseball history, passing Hideki Matsui, Godzilla. I only put that in there to say Godzilla. To my Jewish friends, Tariq Cohen, Anthony Schwartz, and of course, A.J. Dillon, I wish you a happy Passover, Pesach, the Festival of Lights, Quadzilla. If you're wondering if Jackson Holiday has done it in the majors yet, he hasn't. 1 for 30. Overrated. The guy who takes his shoes off on the airplane. Just go yourself. It's not your house. It's not my house. It's not your house. It's not anyone's house. Keep your shoes on.
I'm cramping. I'm laughing too hard. Slow down, Stu.
Sorry. Matthew Tkachuk with a goal and an assist. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Classic Chucky. What Drew Holiday doesn't always show up in the box scores. Top 5 NBA players who what they do doesn't always show up in the box score.
you certainly aren't going to pick 5 current players. You're going to take 5 players for all time, right?
Yes. Number 5, Eric Snow. I mean, nothing showed up in his box score but wins.
Not really.
They went to the finals with Eric Snow.
That's right.
He's not wrong.
He played a whole lot of other years where they didn't make it to the finals.
That's a good point. Patrick Beverly. Pat Bev. Thank you. That was number 4. Number 3, George Hill. What's that face, Izzy?
I mean, it's a good list so far.
All right.
Is anybody still playing?
Number 2, Shane Battier.
That's the one I knew was going to be on the list, Dan. You knew that one was going to be on there.
And number 1, Bobby Portis.
That man shows up all over the box score. What are you talking about?
But sometimes he doesn't.
Touche.
Thank you. Here come the Phillies. Mookie Betts, being in the top 5 of the National League for average, hits, and RBIs. The M in Mookie Betts stands for MVP. He's so good. They're so good. They're 13-11. They should be ashamed of themselves. A team that is that good, where Betts might be their second or third best player, even though he's going to win the MVP, they should be better. 13-11.
Braves lineup is still better than theirs.
The Dallas Mavericks missed 18 of 20 shots in the second quarter. You know what they say, right, Dano? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And apparently, 90% of the shots you do take.
Did you get that one, Dan?
Yeah.
Stash this away in the Something to Ponder file. Are the Bucks better without Giannis?
Oh, come on.
No need
Where's
to
the
discuss
file?
now. Just stash it away for a rainy day. What do you mean, oh, come on? Headline. Dan Patrick reveals interest from potential successors for his show. Dan, let's talk. DP. Ice. Underrated thing.
Put it on the poll, Juju at LeBaturd Show. Is ice underrated?
Have a drink with ice and then have one without ice and tell me it's not underrated. The things you do while driving around the Midwest on a gummy in the passenger seat of a car. Top 5 underrated things. Number 5, Michael Jordan's passing. Number 4, Michael Jordan's work ethic. Number 3, Michael Jordan's defense. Number 2, Michael Jordan's mid-range game.
These are just all of the underrated things in the world?
Yes. Ice and then these things.
Okay.
Number 1, Michael Jordan. Dan, the Metropolitans.
Michael Jordan is underrated.
Oh, he is, yeah.
Okay.
He won a NASCAR race this weekend.
I mean, he's underrated. You don't think that he is?
No.
I think that proves it.
Congratulations to the Rams, who for the first time since 2016 have a first-round pick. That's nuts.
They were all in. We made a big deal. They were all in. They won the championship. They were all in, remember?
The C in Caleb Martin stands for Code Red. Scotty Scheffler, do me a favor. Save some wins for everyone else. He's made something that is very, very difficult look easy, and I can't stand it. Another thought I had driving around the Midwest on a gummy in the passenger seat. How is John Franco not in the Hall of Fame? Most saves by a lefty in Major League Baseball history, 4-time All-Star, a sub-3 ERA. I will not rest until John Franco is in the Baseball Hall of Fame. And by not resting, I mean talking about it today and forgetting about it tomorrow.
You were not going to rest if Dwayne Wade left the Miami Heat and played for anyone else until you blocked all of his abilities to
Must
get
be
a
so tired.
statue.
Yeah.
outside of the arena, and you immediately forgot about it.
Do you see it up yet?
I mean, the idea that
work behind the scenes,
all you do is rest.
I need some rest. Franco's would be a great name for a pizzeria. Death, taxes, and Joel Embiid being questionable in a game where the 76ers really need him. Knick fans chanting, "We want Boston," at the end of game 1 is peak Knicks fan and why everybody hates us. We're on to Boston already.
Weren't they still yelling "Bleep Trey Young" as well? Weren't they also
They
doing
were.
that? Wasn't there a "Bleep Trey Young" chant that made an appearance? Jason Bateman looks like that because of a role, right? He's doing a role.
Or he's just showing off that he can grow the hair because all of his friends are getting old too.
Hey, people making mock drafts, stop putting hypothetical trades in. You're confusing everybody.
Bill Barnwell put out the all-trade first-round draft.
Yes.
Oh, I love it.
You do?
I love it.
No.
The Giants trading up for McCarthy, though, Stu? What about it?
How about I trade you a 5th and you give me you shuffling off to hell? Speaking of hell,
wow.
Art Briles, Dan, those are the weekend observations.
16 teams, 1 trophy. The NBA playoffs are here and all roads lead to the finals. Will NBA champions like Jokic and Giannis dominate the playoffs again? Or will emerging stars like Anthony Edwards and Jason Tatum solidify their names in NBA history? The playoffs are where legends are made, and TNT will make sure you don't miss a moment of the action. Tune in to TNT's coverage of the NBA playoffs presented by Google Pixel on TNT, True TV, and Max.
Don LeBaturd.
Did someone say conservative entity?
Wow! No!
What?
Oh, see, this is why.
Stugotz.
Hers was better than mine.
In the fifth
Yours was
Sagaki.
Fleming.
How is the fifth Sagaki better than the third and the fourth Sagaki already?
This is the Don LeBaturd Show with the Stugotz.
The draft is an ever-expanding thing. ESPN is in its last year with the draft. I am curious if there will be a lot of people that try and wrestle away the draft from ESPN. One of the most popular things that Pat McAfee does is his annual draft extravaganza where he's adjacent to the draft and talking to Brock Lesnar and an assortment of others. And last week, he debuted and announced, McAfee did, that Bill Belichick would be performing with him this Thursday. Bill Belichick had his choice of jobs in the broadcasting field, I would imagine. I would imagine that there was no shortage of opportunity for him there. If you saw how he appeared on McAfee, he did so with 6 Super Bowl trophies behind him. As there's a report on ESPN of his failed job hunt in coaching. And I read but did not see, Stugotz, that McAfee did not ask him about that. And I think McAfee is someone who is proud of doing it his way. And there are many people that I've talked to in the athlete space, including Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes, who say that they want to protect relationships. And I believe that this is a change going forward that you're going to have to get used to in exchange for the access, someone asking questions who doesn't feel beholden to ask what it is that you think should be asked on behalf of the audience or journalists or anything else. And I don't suppose that anyone will care that Bill Belichick was not asked about the report from Seth Wickersham, Don Van Natta, and Jeremy Fowler about Arthur Blank taking calls from Bob Kraft saying don't trust Belichick. But I would have liked to have heard Belichick's response to that.
I was going to ask, do you care? So you do care.
I care, but
I understand that,
But
too.
I don't believe that the audience does. I don't believe that people, as long as they can get their access to Bill Belichick, care what has to be exchanged for that, but yes, that is something that I care about. I would like to know that there are no restrictions, but that wall has not only tumbled, it is now, again, Stugotz, Belichick could have worked anywhere that he wanted to.
Right.
He chose
Except the NFL.
Right. In broadcasting, I'm assuming that he had his choice of jobs.
No doubt.
And the one that he chose was a safe space that Pat McAfee is making a safe space for a whole lot of people. I remember we left here last week, right, while he's announcing that Belichick is going to be on his show, and Caitlin Clark was on his show when we left here, and she was saying, I'll do a weekly show with you. And I do wonder, because there are a lot of people questioning whether or not, or there were a lot of people questioning whether the McAfee thing will work or not, and they're paying him so much money, Stugotz, that they're putting all of ESPN and Disney's resources behind making sure that that show succeeds. That show is going to succeed.
Yes.
For a number of different reasons, but the investment will make it so that it cannot fail. It's not something that will fail unless Pat McAfee doesn't want to work there, because he's not even under the employee restrictions that other employees would be under, because he's renting his stuff to them and they're making the maximum investment. And this is where I tell you where some of the new media can absolutely change things, where you won't even notice, or care what is given away in exchange for the access, because the access is enough these days. And I would say, generally speaking, the media's Q rating with people, the job the media does,
right,
it's either not trusted or disliked. Very few Q ratings are lower as a profession than media. In fact, go ahead and put this on the poll at LeBaturd Show. More despicable popularity rating, media or lawyers? Media or sports agents? Like, what do you look at, media or used car salesmen? Because
lawyers is pretty good.
No, but I believe media has probably taken out all of them now. I believe that there are very few occupations right now that need more change and have less public trust than the media.
So you're saying I walk into a restaurant, couple friends, few people in there recognize me. At their table, they're saying, oh, that asshole over there, look at him, that media jerk. Is that what's happening? Is that what you're saying?
That's tough for David Sampson because he's both.
I think that most people, if you just ask them, I don't think that's the way it presents itself. They don't.
That would make me sad.
They don't hate you on the spot. But if I ask them, if I said, how do you feel about the media in general? And is the response going to be positive or negative? If I give you the choices, if that's how I frame the question to everyone listening to this, how do you feel about the media?
Is neutral an option?
Put all three of those up. How do you feel about the media? Positive, neutral, negative. Because I think negative, especially if you put that up on social media, an existence that is negative by itself. Like, social media exists, I feel like, just for people to argue about things.
It depends on the person, though, right? Like Charles Barkley, it's going to be, yeah, I love him.
But I'm not talking
Media
about
is
that.
a very broad, like, that includes Fox News, it includes CNN, it includes NBC.
Right.
But I'm not making any of those distinctions. I'm just saying, how do you feel about the media? Hard stop.
Yeah, Dan, they hate us. I'm trying not to come to terms with that every single day of my life, but yes, people hate us.
They're also mad at us right now for giving the floor to Brian Scalabrine earlier. They're not happy that we allowed Brian Scalabrine on our show, even though we had booked that before he said any of what it is that he said.
It's not our fault, and Izzy went after him. And apologized.
He's not going to hear an attack the way he did on any other show. And so, yeah, I'm glad we had him on, even though I love you, Brian Scalabrine.
People are saying, like, we platformed him.
Yeah.
He's got a pretty big platform already.
Izzy, do you actually listen to him every day? Because you said that at the end.
Every day I'm in the car in the morning. Yes.
I don't believe you.
I'll turn on Frank Isola and Brian Scalabrine.
I do. I believe that.
It's too specific to not.
Frank's my guy. Come on. Yeah. Frankie Ice.
And you want your basketball fix in the morning, and you know they're going to be chewing up all basketball things.
And for the record, I do not dislike Brian Scalabrine. Yeah. Listen to him all the time.
Russell Wilson, speaking of something that is a note off that people receive poorly, threw out an honorary first pitch over the weekend, Stugotz, and not terribly surprisingly, brought out his own baseball glove.
That's adorable.
Dad move.
Adorkable. I don't think a lot of people are looking at that and saying that is something that they would do. Stugotz.
I know, but Russ was excited. He's throwing out a first pitch. He was practicing. He wanted his own glove. He wanted to feel comfortable. Did he throw a dart? I mean,
I don't actually know. I should make a qualifier here. I don't know if it was his glove or he just grabbed a glove that was somebody else's.
Fake news. This is why people don't like the media. You just allege something and now you're backtracking already.
I don't know whether it's his glove. I don't know which one. I think that's worse, right? Bringing in your own glove. Bringing in your own glove from home is worse than just grabbing one off of the bench.
He'll be on McAfee later. We can find out.
It's very on brand. I mean, and didn't Rob Gronkowski last week just go up and spike a ball instead of? I think this is now going to become a thing. Whatever you're known for, just do it on that mound in 5 seconds.
C.J. Stroud, horrible. Was warming up to throw a first pitch. Embarrassing.
Really?
Yeah. You have to worry if you're the Texans.
Chris Cody just asked, why was Russell Wilson throwing out the first pitch at a Pittsburgh game? We had to remind him.
Yeah, I forgot what team
he plays for the Steelers.
He also did batting practice. Do you think they're like, you want to throw out the first pitch? He's like, but I want to bat also. And they're like, well, that's not.
The Pirates are like, yeah, you can come on our team. We're not going to pay you either. Well, can the Broncos pay for that salary too?
How much do you think they enjoyed it at Fenway Park that Gronk got out there and just spiked the baseball at his feet, right? Just immediately threw it right down.
Greatest night in Red Sox history.
It's so good. It is so Gronk there. He thought he was muttering to himself as he went up there. Watch this. I'm going to make him crazy as soon as I do this.
Don LeBaturd.
Marty Schottenheimer passed away.
Stugotz.
Why do you sound so happy? How did you say that?
Yeah, you're very excited about that.
was wrong tone.
I was not excited.
Unbelievable.
I was merely pointing out that a Browns legend had passed away.
Hold on. That was
Hey guys,
unbelievable.
Marty Schottenheimer died.
Hold on.
And maybe the greatest coach to never win a Super Bowl.
Okay, wait a minute. Let's just settle down.
Shoddy.
Let's all settle down.
Do you hear?
This is the Don LeBaturd Show with the Stugotz.
Stugotz, are you excited?
For?
Draft week.
Of course I am.
Detroitish.
Yes, around the area. Yes.
Yeah, if I were to tell you that there's only 13 confirmed prospects that have said they're going to be at the draft so far, how would you feel about that?
Depends on who they are. Quarterbacks?
Caleb's one of them. Yeah, there's 3 quarterbacks that are confirmed to be there.
Okay.
Is this just because of Will Levis last year? So no one wants to go and be the embarrassed person that's hanging out at the draft just to not get drafted the first day?
There's been a lot of Will Levises over the years, right? Wasn't Aaron Rodgers one of those?
Yes.
There's been a handful. But I mean, I think if you're an agent, you're probably like, it's not a good look. You don't want to be that guy.
Are you asking, Billy, because Stugotz is going to be eager when he's in the Detroitish area to talk to prospects and he's only going to have, a dozen to choose from?
Yeah, I mean, I would think everyone would want to go, right? Even if I'm drafted day 2, I think I'd want to be there. I mean, I'd be embarrassed, but whatever. I'd be fine with getting embarrassed. I'm only going to be drafted once by the NFL, right?
But waiting around and having America feel pity for you is something that you could probably avoid if you're not doing a Times Square draft or a Las Vegas draft or a California draft and it's Detroitish.
At Motor City.
Yep.
Who do you think is the worst person that could ask to go to the draft and be fine with being embarrassed? Like if there's someone that's rated like a 3rd round pick, but they're like, you know what? I'll be there, commish. And they're like, no, you're not allowed at the draft. Like, how far down can you go in terms of picks? Like, the 47th pick, could they go to the draft if they wanted
No
to?
No kickers allowed, right?
I think it's only first-round picks that go. They don't have
projected first-round picks.
First-rounders.
Yes. I like the idea of like a projected 6th-round pick, just being like, I'd like to go.
Yeah.
Sam Hartman's like, I'm going to go.
I think I might get drafted higher.
I mean, this could be avoided if they just told the people producing the television show, hey, if there's someone just sitting in the back holding their phone,
Don't show them.
maybe don't show them every time they come back from commercial. Maybe just I don't know, talk about someone who has been drafted.
Who are the, did you say 11, Billy? 11, 13? What did you say?
There's 13 that will be there.
If Sam Hartman did show up, though, I'd be tempted to take him.
I mean, the NFL would be thrilled.
You'd be tempted to draft him?
Oh, yeah.
I do like the peer pressure of the player being there in attendance, and you feel I feel bad for him.
He's got such great hair.
Yeah.
I didn't realize.
I've got an idea.
You're going to sell a lot
Sam
of
Hartman
jerseys.
goes to the draft. Anybody that falls lower than they're expected, you just put the camera on Sam Hartman. Just have him wave his hair around, and then that way you're not thinking about, poor such and such who should have been drafted top 10.
Oh, we really thought Jaden Daniels was going to go number 2, and now he's still on the board. But Sam Hartman, hello.
Look at that flowing hair.
Bo Nix would be crazy to attend the draft, right? That guy could go in the first round or the 6th round or not be drafted at all. Yeah.
I know. He's one of those people that I see, and I don't know why we're doing mock draft talk. I'm sorry, Dan. I feel like you're going to... I just saw you look at me and you were pissed. I've seen him in mock drafts, those two guys. I've seen him in the first round, and then I've seen him not in the first round. I don't know J.J. McCarthy. I don't know if that's a smokescreen. I don't know Jaden Daniels are the Commanders. I don't know what's going on.
Can you look up for me, please, Bo Nix's collegiate touchdown to interception rate, please? Because I think it's pretty extraordinary. I also wanted to play for you a bit of instigation, Stugotz, that Knicks fan Taylor brought in. He said that we are now feuding with WFAN. Evidently, we said some things when you were close to taking the program director job here recently at WFAN. We said something. You'll have to forgive me. What was the name of the two guys, the two bald guys that Billy was confusing, and he said they were the same guy?
Oh, Sal Licata and Brendan Tierney?
Okay, yes. Evidently, we're feuding with them. I have not heard this sound, so let's hear this sound, please.
Have that battle with that fan base or Knicks Miami, especially knowing that the Knicks, probably could have handled Miami. Because, we hate, like I was thinking about it with, what are those two guys who do the show down in Florida? LeBaturd and Ugotz, I think.
Oh, yeah, Ugotz.
Oh, yeah, Ugotz. LeBaturd and Ugotz, with those guys, they're big Heat fan, I think.
Are they?
I think. I mean, they're in Miami. LeBaturd, I think, talks about Miami.
Ugotz is a Heat fan? He's from here.
Hey,
Has he embraced the Heat culture?
Yeah, well, he's from here. He wanted to be here, but he left. And, he thinks he could come back and whatever, but he can't. He's just not good enough. So, LeBaturd and Ugotz, I think it would have been fun to be able to beat those,
that would have been
beat
fun.
Miami.
You know what, though? Listen, so who would I rather face? Philly. You know why? Those fans have more heart.
He did the same thing that you did at the beginning of that. Like, what are those guys' names? The guys down there, what do they do?
I'm not beefing.
Dan did it better.
I'm not beefing with Sal. I don't care.
He came at you, Stu, the most there, I think.
Yeah, but I don't care.
But he's first on the chopping block, right?
He would have
taking
been,
his job. Yeah,
I might take it again now. I might call him after the show, just so I could fire Sal.
I've been hearing LeBaturd since 2nd grade.
Turds are funny. That's a funny insult. I'm sorry, Dan.
Agreed.
Turd is funny.
Agreed. The turd, referring to someone as a turd at all times is universally funny.
Ugotz was weird.
Yeah, that was not.
That's a classic sports radio move, though, where you don't really, know their names, but you give off like you don't know their names.
I did not know.
I believe Dan.
I did not know who they were.
But he knows who we are. That's my point. Yes, you might not know who Sal is, and I believe you when you say that. He knows very well who you are, and he knows who I am.
Do they know that you wanted to fire them? Are those your list? Are they in a time slot that you would want?
They're in the midday time slot, and no, that's
you don't want
not
that slot.
Yeah, that's not who I was going to fire. It was Evan Roberts. I mean,
Evan Roberts. What time slot is he in?
And I love Evan. I mean, I do. I love Evan.
It's got to be the drive afternoon, right?
It's afternoon drive. Yeah. Evan and Tiki, they do a great job. In fact, I will say this, okay? Sal, play this on your show. All 3 shows do a great job. It's why I wanted to take the job. That station is incredible, where you could put any 2 people in a 4-hour window and have them talk about a bunt, and boom, 10 shares. It's insane. But they do a good show. So I don't know why Sal has beef with me. He always thinks I'm coming up to take his stuff. I'm not taking your stuff. I was going to be your boss. I don't need to be anyone's boss at this point in my career. I can be my own boss.
You're not good enough to be the station director? What does that mean?
Listen, it's classic Sal, okay? Classic Sal, okay? Don't know his name. LeBaturd, Ugotz, Tierney playing along. Tierney. I mean, please, if I did a remote, okay, if I did an appearance side by side against Sal and Brendan Tierney by myself with no promotion except a couple of tweets, I am telling you I would outnumber their promotion by at least 5,000 people. I said it, but I don't want their jobs. I wanted to help them become better at their jobs. That's all.
That's funny.
I didn't want Gio's job. That's too early in the morning. I did mornings, WFAN over the summer. The show was over. I had no idea what to do. What did I do? I took a gummy. I walked around the Lower West Side of Manhattan, sleeping by 2. It was miserable.
So if you did take the job, you'd be doing it for them.
I'd be doing it for WFAN. Yes.
You're a real Aaron Rodgers here, just kind of taking jobs, try to mentor the young talent there.
I was trying to take everything I've learned in the radio industry over a couple of decades and pour it back into a radio station that I love and host that I love. I do. I listen to those shows. I like those shows.
You're so giving.
5,000 more, at least.
Right next to each other, so like almost like if the two of you, like let's say this is like a, I don't know, like an episode of Peanuts.
Put them on the Blarney Stone on the west side, put me on the Blarney Stone on the east side, and see who gets more people. Go ahead.
Just to be clear, though, you are saying you'd send out a couple of tweets and 5,000 people would gather around you in New York.
No, 5,000 more people than the other guys. Yeah.
That he would have 5,000.
So 5,100.
And they would have 0. Okay, so they'd have 100, and all you'd send out is a couple of tweets, and you'd get 5,000.
Hey, Stugotz, I'm going to be at the Blarney Stone East Side. Come out 3 to 6 p.m. Come out and hang out. I'll give you some sports takes. It wouldn't even be a live show. I mean,
it's the Stu signal. It's just a puff of smoke, cigarette smoke out over Manhattan, and people show up at the Blarney Stone.
I believe that he believes it.
Thank you, Billy. Yes, that's the key.
Barkley was just on with Mad Dog and called him Mike throughout.
Oh, jeez.
Chris never corrected him.
Doggy doesn't care.
He just kept calling him Mike, though. His name's not Mike. That at some point you would think that a correction would be coming.
But Doggy told us this, that he's just happy that he's getting these guys on now. Because before he started doing First Take, he couldn't get you on. He couldn't get Barkley on. And now he's getting a who's who of guests. And he doesn't care if they call him Chris or Mike. I mean, it's amazing.
I'm not going to lie. I honestly thought his name might have been Mike. Like, I just know him as Mad Dog Russo.
Oh, you weren't sure?
Mike and the Mad Dog.
I wasn't sure. No, I would never listen to Mike and the Mad Dog. I lived in South Florida.
I don't know, Stugotz, if you have been watching.
Are you mad at Sal? I mean,
no.
You're good?
No, I mean it's not very clever as an insult. I've been hearing it since second grade, but I mean I didn't hear he took you out more. I don't know. I guess being a turd is worse, but I've been hearing that one.
Do you like
while.
LeBaturd less or LeBaturd less?
Yeah. I got both of those since I was a little kid. I actually probably got LeBaturd more than LeBaturd, though, probably because first graders aren't using bastard.
Yeah, one hurts more.
Kids
than
like
the other.
poop humor.
Tough one. It's interesting with Sal, though, because I had a conversation with Sal, and I told him this. I said, Sal, I am so happy for you. Because you, like me, listened to WFAN growing up, and now you are living out your dream of hosting on WFAN. That's what this station is all about. And it was sincere, and I meant it.
You're fired.
And he thanked me. Now, whether or not I would have fired him if I took the PG job is another thing. But I had that conversation with him when I was doing mornings with Boomer and Gia. And I really am happy for Sal because he has waited and waited and waited. And then Carton left. And then Tiki went to the afternoons. And there was a spot open at middays. And even though that spot should have went to me, it went to Sal. And I am super happy for Sal because he has wanted this his entire life, and he is living out a dream. And I love watching people live out their dreams. I'm super happy for him. I really am. Whether or not he believes it is up to him, but I've said it to him 1,000 times.
I thought you were done commenting on this. I thought you didn't have anything that you had to say about any of this, that you didn't want to take anybody out. You actually showed restraint at the start of this.
I did, yeah.
What happened?
I don't know. I mean, I like Sal. I'm getting older, you know. I don't want beef, but make no mistake about it. I mean, he says one more word, I will end his career.
Sometimes you accidentally drop a diss track.
He could have just called you John Weiner.
It's better than Ugotz, right? If
he could have just called him Stugotz.
If he had been just LeBaturd and Weiner, I think it would have been better than Ugotz. I don't even understand what Ugotz is.
He's got built-in insults in the name. 2 of them. Pick one.
Yes.
Now imagine it's me and Dan Blarney Stone, East Side. I mean, you're in.